I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm not like these other reality people. Like, I'm a real bona fide 5-time Emmy-nominated journalist difference. So for me, I am not comfortable publicly saying or calling someone else a liar without knowing the legitimate facts. That's where I'm standing with that. But she's still on you. I'm not playing games with clowns. Like, I'm not going to be in the circus with you. Like, we not doing that ever again. Love that. Somebody said Kay said it. I said it back. I said no. My husband did what he did to me. Both of them actually. And she can't sing. I said that. Okay. So, let's talk about Tamar Braxton for a second. Look, I'm not going to sit here and act like the girl can't sing because she absolutely can. Tamar's got pipes. We all know this. The voice. It's there. The talent. Undeniable. But here's the thing that's been bothering me and clearly bothering a lot of other people too. It's the attitude. Like, sis, why are you so pressed about Kandi Burrus? And I'm not talking about a little shade here and there. I'm talking about a full-blown years-long obsession. Tamar has been dragging Kandi into drama that has absolutely nothing to do with her. And honestly, it's getting exhausting to watch. Like, girl, focus on your craft. You're out here with all this talent and you're wasting energy on beef that doesn't even make sense. Now, let's get into the real root of all this mess. Because according to Jessie Woo and Honey, Jessie stays with the T. Tamar's whole problem with Kandi comes down to one thing. Jealousy. Yep, that's it. Tamar is reportedly jealous of Kandi's success, both financially and career-wise. And look, I get it. Comparison is the thief of joy and all that. But at some point, you got to ask yourself, is it really worth it? Because from where I'm sitting, Kandi has been pretty patient with Tamar over the years. But apparently she is done playing nice. In a recent interview, Kandi basically called out Tamar's insecurity and talked about how Tamar has literally tried to ruin her career ever since Celebrity Big Brother. I love Tamar, but since we've known her, she's been in constant beef with somebody, whether it be her own sisters or her peers in the industry. Like, imagine being so bothered by someone that you actively try to sabotage them. That's not normal behavior. That's unhealed trauma behavior. And speaking of careers, let's do a little comparison, shall we? Because the numbers don't lie and the receipts are loud. Kandi's career is absolutely thriving right now. She's producing shows. She's acting. She's got her restaurants, her businesses. Girl is booked and busy, and making money. Meanwhile, Tamar seems to constantly be in some kind of conflict with somebody. It's always something with her. And look, I've seen people in the comments saying, why doesn't Tamar just focus on her singing instead of all this drama? And honestly, valid question, because when you're the common denominator in every single beef, every single fallout, every single controversy, at some point, you got to look in the mirror and ask yourself if maybe, just maybe, you're the problem. So, where did all this beef even start? Well, if we're going back to the beginning, we got to talk about Celebrity Big Brother. That's where things really came to a head. But apparently, the issues go back even further. Tamar claimed that Kandi was being shady backstage during the Escape tour. Meanwhile, Kandi saw things completely differently. She felt like Tamar was deliberately bringing rude, disrespectful people backstage, and that's what caused the tension. Was having trouble in my marriage. I was having issues with my career. Things were like all over the place. You personally interjected yourself in the situation by talking crazy about me, but you just should have said nothing. Okay, that's on the train. Okay. So anyway, what I was saying was on the tour. I personally wasn't even thinking about all the stuff. I thought we was totally moved on for that. From my perspective, it was totally utterly disrespectful and unprofessional. What? Absolutely. So basically, they already had some bad blood brewing before they even stepped foot in that Big Brother house. Now, here's where it gets interesting. When they were actually on Big Brother, Kandi tried to be the bigger person. She attempted to squash the beef. They had this whole reconciliation moment. It seemed like maybe they could move past it. Kandi even invited Tamar to her dungeon tour. I'm so happy that we had the opportunity to mend our relationship. For too long, we have just been a roller coaster of emotions between the two of us. A lot of people didn't know that, and I'm just glad we were able to fix it. Like that's extending an olive branch, if I've ever seen one. And for a minute there, it's fast forward a bit. And now we've got the Carlos King situation. So Kandi and producer Carlos King had a major falling out over a documentary. Kandi went on record calling Carlos a thief, which is bold by the way, but notice she didn't mention Tamar at all in that situation. It had nothing to do with Tamar. But guess who decided to insert herself into the drama anyway? You guessed it, Tamar. And instead of staying neutral or just minding her business, Tamar appeared to shade Kandi rather than actually defend her. I don't agree with her calling him a thief. You know what I mean? I think that's a little like well off the deep end. Well, what would you do if somebody tried to do this to you and your sisters? They tried to tell your story without your permission. Well, okay. So, here was the thing. So, my sister did our biopic, right? Got it. And I feel like everybody else was involved. But I had nothing to do with my character and I was in my feelings about that. Okay. But everybody else was involved. So, that's a different kind of thing. So you don't want nobody telling your own story. But at the end of the day, I just feel like there are all the time unauthorized, like versions of people's lives. And this just the part of being an entertainer, which is wild to me because let's be real, if someone was out here telling stories about the Braxton without permission, Tamar would be the first one ready to go to war. She'd be defending herself and her family left and right. But when it comes to Kandi, suddenly she's throwing shade instead. Make it make sense. Then we have the whole Andy Cohen incident, which honestly just made things worse. Tamar went on record claiming that she was threatened by a Real Housewives of Atlanta cast member. It really did happen. I'm not lying. Like I'm not looking for attention or drama or anything like that. That really did happen. It was not cute. No. Was she a full housewife? She's a full house. Oh my god. It's not Kandi. Now, at first she didn't name names. She was being all cryptic about it. But then later she made a post that pretty much implicated Kandi. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not like these other reality people. I'm a real bona fide 5-time Emmy-nominated journalist difference. So for me, I am not comfortable publicly saying or calling someone else a liar without knowing the legitimate facts. That's where I'm standing with that. Not I wasn't on no you not my friend, I don't want to side with you. It wasn't nothing being messy, but my responsibility for my job and my integrity just lied. And Kandi was like, hold up, that's not what happened. She denied threatening Tamar and she especially denied involving her husband in any drama. The only thing I would say right now is, simply that that's not true. My husband never said nothing to her. He did not threaten her or none of that. So that's why I was like, I don't really want to address that on Amazon Live. She and I didn't have words. But he did. So that's why I was like, yeah. Some people like to twist things a little bit. But the damage was kind of already done. And that's the thing about Tamar. She's really good at playing the victim. She'll position herself as the one who's being attacked, the one who's being wronged, the one who's just trying to live her life while everyone else is out to get her. But here's where it gets dangerous. When you're making statements that could affect someone else's marriage, someone else's reputation, that's not just drama anymore. That's potentially harmful. That's the kind of thing that can have real consequences in people's lives. Now, let's talk about Kandi's track record through all of this. For the most part, Kandi either responds when she absolutely has to, or she just ignores Tamar completely. She stays busy. She stays booked. She stays professional. And from what we hear, she's actually great to work with. People in the industry respect her. They want to work with her. They know she's going to show up and do the job. I'm going to tell you the same thing I said about Issa and Amanda Seales. I've worked with both these people. One was insufferable. The other was not. Kandi, when she comes to work, let me tell you something. When I did all cart with Kandi, Kandi would show up to the makeup chair with her base makeup already. Like base because she didn't want to give the makeup team too much work to do. This is Kandi Burrus. I'm sorry. I will always windmill for Kandi Burr. When I saw her do that, I was like, oh, the humility. She's always been humble. She's always been humble. But the humility, she comes in early. She don't got a big entourage. You don't got to babysit her. Which I've seen with Tamar. You don't have to babysit her. She comes in. She gives you the least work to do. That speaks volumes, doesn't it? Meanwhile, Tamar, there's definitely a pattern of behavior here that we can't ignore. She seems unhealed. She's always in some kind of conflict with someone, and she's always playing the victim and the shade she's thrown at Kandi over the years. Girl, it's a lot. She's come for Kandi's singing, her ego, her booking fees, even her restaurant. Yes, there's this old video floating around of Tamar basically trashing Kandi's restaurant, and it resurfaced recently, and people were like, wow, she really has been on this for years. Me, a Billy Goat head, I can't sing. But for me, I'm looking at it like, she's an amazing singer. But for you to sing so great, and the only time people really want to talk about you because you beefing with me, then that's a problem. I think you need to be working on promoting your music and not promoting your drama with me. And through all of this, Kandi just refuses to engage. She's not taking the bait. She's not giving Tamar the reaction she's clearly looking for. Basically, wouldn't be here if I wasn't lied on. And that's my thing. Like, I can deal with anything, but don't lie on me. Yeah, you know what I mean? So, that's my thing. Jessie Woo really hit the nail on the head when she pointed out that Tamar constantly talks about Kandi without there even being a real issue between them. Like, Tamar will just bring up Kandi out of nowhere, throw some shade, stir some drama, and for what? Even like hair and makeup. When she would bring up Kandi, hair and makeup, like, yeah, okay. Yeah, we know she ain't a good person. We know. Like, it's like, we know. But she could never give us why Kandi was not a good person. It gives Amanda Seales and Tisa Ray. The way that Super Chat just talked, it gives Amanda Seales and Isa. You know, when you just don't like somebody, you've had awkward interactions with somebody, but it's just not enough for you to just say, you know what, I don't like that person. But you have to go on a media blitz to get everybody not to like that person. Tamar is to Kandi, while Amanda Seales is to Isa. According to Jessie, it all comes down to jealousy about their career trajectories. And when you look at where they both are in their careers right now, it's pretty clear why that might be a sore spot for Tamar. Kandi has absolutely outshone her in terms of Hollywood success. And that brings us to where Kandi is right now. Kandi is no longer trying to maintain peace with Tamar. She's done with that. She's moved on. She's producing shows. She's succeeding in Hollywood. She's building her empire. And she simply does not have time for Tamar's insecure, confrontational energy anymore. And honestly, good for her. Why should she keep trying to make peace with someone who clearly doesn't want peace? Public opinion has pretty much sided with Kandi on this one because at the end of the day, people can see through the nonsense. They can see who's focused on their work and who's focused on starting drama. So, here's the tea. In conclusion, Tamar continues to talk about Kandi, while Kandi continues to focus on her career. Tamar is out here looking insecure and drama-prone, while Kandi is out here looking unbothered and successful. And honestly, that probably bothers Tamar more than anything else ever could because the best revenge. So, what do you think about this whole situation? Are you Team Kandi or Team Tamar? Do you think Tamar needs to just let this go and focus on her own career? Let me know in the comments below. And if you made it this far, go ahead and hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. And turn on those notifications so you don't miss the next video. Because trust me, there's always more tea to spill. I'll see you in the next one.